So today I'm going after the meta and introducing all those discard players to turn 0 4/4s. This brew might be spicy, but it's great against most decks I've faced today. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I've played so much Magic that I think this mid-range discard brew is the go-to deck against the meta that I'm constantly facing. Let's just jump straight into it today and talk about the discard part of our deck. It's how we control the game whilst we delete their hands and then delete their life totals. Bandit's Talent is a card I'm sure you've played against. It's a 2-mana enchantment class that as it enters, opponent discards a card. For 1 extra black mana, you can level it up into an effect that says if they have 1 or fewer cards in their hand, in your end step, they lose 2 life. Then for 4 more mana, you also get to draw an extra card in your upkeep if they have 1 or fewer cards. So this is our long game win con, and it works really well with the other discard effects in our deck in Cruelclaw, Heist, Ruthless Negotiation, and some Hopeless Nightmares. We have Liliana, of course, and Hostile Negotiators. They're 4-mana detectives that make clues when players discard cards, and in this discard meta, it keeps your cards flowing even if your opponents are deleting your hand. Now for the spice in our deck, and it works so much more than it should. Obstinate Baloth is a 4-mana 4/4 that gains you 4 life when it enters, but if an effect your opponent has makes you discard a card, you get to put the Baloth straight onto the battlefield for free instead. My days, I have played so many turn 1 or turn 0 Baloths today when your opponent plays a Hopeless Nightmare. I am going to literally make a whole video dedicated to a highlight reel of doing just that. It's also great at stabilising against mono red and other fast-paced games. Glissa and Preacher have also been carefully selected for our deck to cope with the meta. They refuel our hands, they block all day long, and you can destroy your opponent's pesky enchantments too. Got some interaction in Go for the Throat, Cut Down, and the ever so useful Choking Miasma. Don't sleep on this card currently. Got 25 lands, including Restless Cottages as another win con, and that is this deck. Okay, so hear me out and trust me on this. Baloth might be spicy, but it won me so many games in testing and beyond. It's totally playable in best of 1 at the moment. This deck though started as a mono black discard deck, and I'm so happy I evolved it to Golgari. Anyway, let me know what changes you might make, and go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, you can do so over on Patreon, like these folk have at the credit level. Link is in the description, but in the meantime, let's see how I got on today with our mid-range discard deck brewed specifically for the current best of 1 meta. Alright then, on the draw. Little secret, if I have Obstinate Baloth in my opening hand, I always keep it. There's nothing better than dropping that. There's nothing better than this. Opponent with Hopeless Nightmare into my Baloth, gain 4 life, and before we've even played a land, we have a 4/4 on the battlefield. Amazing. Opponent down to 16. They're looking at my card. They're thinking, what the hell is going on here? That is exactly why this card is in this deck in this current meta at the moment. Yeah, and I mean, Restless Cottage should be our way of winning the game if we can delete their hand. Opponent is a discard deck with Ruthless Negotiation. We'll get rid of one of these cut downs. I'm not the biggest fan of this deck, of this card, sorry. It's nice. I've just got a 1-of in the deck now. Opponent with Hopeless Nightmare. I mean, they are deleting my hand, but we managed to get a 4/4 down on basically turn 0 for us. So we find another Hopeless Nightmare, but we will heist their hand here with the Cruelclaw's Heist. Shelly, Cut Down. Yeah, I mean, wow, this has been fantastic for us. So Shielded is definitely an addition you can put in this deck, but I really didn't want to put Shelly in my deck. I'm sick of that card. Put it with a Go for the Throat off the top. Must be nice. We'll get rid of that Cut Down from them. And yeah, for a discard deck, they've just got the 1 card in their hand here. We just need to get to enough mana to start jamming with Restless Cottage, which we should be able to do next turn. They do get an opportunity here to sacrifice one of those Hopeless Nightmares, so they can look for some action. They need multiple removals to deal with our lands, which are going to be 4/4s, making us some food as well to keep up with our opponent's threats. Do we have the superior discard deck here? Looks like we do. They find Demolition Field. I mean, that does deal with one of the Restless Cottages. That's a nice draw for them there. And they're waiting, yeah. Wait for me to activate the cottage and then shoot it. But we have another one. So I'm definitely going to be looking for a land. Preacher as well. I mean, Preacher I think is better right now. Get a creature onto the battlefield that doesn't die to cut down. And we play our Swamp. Well, actually, if they're a discard... Yeah, I guess we do. If they're a discard deck, I don't really necessarily want to lose this cut down, but they haven't shown us any creatures yet. They crack their other Hopeless Nightmare. One top, one bottom. I guess they're looking for a removal, which they find and go for the throat. Well, we're going to get an attack in here with our land, and I think we need to jam whilst we can. And we can actually take their Negotiation out their graveyard. Opponent down to 6. A lot of work went in with that Baloth turn 1. Turn 2 as well. Opponent with another Swamp. They got Demolition Field available to deal with my 4/4 coming at them. We are going to play Glissa probably. Oh, they've just gone for it? Okay. I mean, they must have a removal to deal with the Restless Cottage. Surely they wouldn't have done that then. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll just bait them into using that removal. Get in there with our 4/4. No. Down to 2. They should have waited on that Demolition Field. This has been a pretty nice little performance from us here. Definitely worth adding the green to this deck. Hopeless Nightmare, okay. I mean, you can have my cut down. An opponent scoops it up, and we definitely have the superior discard deck. Alright then, on the draw with our Golgari Discard sort of mid-range deck. And yeah, this is a really nice hand. This started out as a mono-black discard deck, and then I changed it to Golgari. We're only kind of like hinting at green in this deck, but I really wanted the Baloth in this because it's so powerful against discard decks and against mono red decks. Gains 4 life, and it's a blocker that I'm happy to lose. Let's go for Cruelclaw's Heist here, see what the opponent's playing. Our hand is pretty bad. Opponent looks like they're mono black. I mean, Lily's going to be amazing for us. Let's get rid of the card that I'm most concerned about here, which is Preacher. This is going to be exiled, so their virtue can't bring it back anyway. And I'm pretty sure they're going to go for Liliana here. Hell yeah. Liliana, make us discard. We will discard this Baloth. This is the play sequence I've been dreaming of. In fact, I've been playing this all day, and this is happening a lot. Now, is the opponent going to scoop it up? They don't. Kudos to them for sticking around. A lot of people will just scoop it up there. We'll go for... Oh, there it is. There it is. And yeah, the Baloth takes them down. All right, then. On the play, very mono-black-centric deck. But we have our Preacher, and that's a nice little way to start drawing us some cards and making some blockers. So yeah, this is a okay hand for us. Ooh, Hopeless Nightmare. Make them discard a card. Alright, opponent's been either thinking for a while or they've disconnected in the face of our Hopeless Nightmare. But that is a 3-tree Scribe going to the bin. So we'll just hang in there and see if they return. Okay, well they do with a Forest. So we find Glissa. Sure. I mean, we'll just pass the turn. So what I've tried to do with this deck is every card is specifically in the deck to deal with a very specific threat that I seem to be facing a lot. We've got the aggro decks. We have the discard decks, which is why the Baloth's in there. Opponent with a Pond Prophet. Okay. Alright, so they're frogs, it looks like. It's gonna... Oh, wait. We don't have green mana? That's a nightmare. Alright, well, we'll just go for the Preacher here. So the Pond Prophet is going to be a great way for them to keep up with any kind of discard shenanigans. So this is where a mid-range deck like ours kind of comes into its own, really. We can not worry too much about deleting their hands. We can deal with that later on, but in the meantime, we can just throw down some Death Touchers, opponent with a Might Caller. Yeah, and we should be okay if we can just keep the pressure on, and then we'll start using our creatures as blockers. So we'll get in there. I'm going to probably crack the Nightmare, take a bit of damage potentially. No point playing Lily, it'll just die. Opponent's having another little think about what's going on here. So when I was playing this deck originally, I didn't have the Preacher and didn't have Glissa in the deck. However, I felt like decks, like this frog deck, was kind of running us over a little bit. So Preacher, bit of pressure, bit of a blocker there. Nice little way to deal with some mono red threats as well. But Glissa is the best against mono red, and so are the Baloths. I wish there was better mana in the Golgari colours. Opponent gets in there, yeah. So we're just gone down to 16. I'm not too concerned right now. Lily Splash Mentor for our opponent. Would really like to find an actual way of looking in our opponent's hand, though. We can maybe do that with Hopeless Nightmare. Okay, there is a Cruelclaw's Heist. Sure, I mean, Forest, probably not right now. We already have a green mana. We only need a second green mana for when we cast a Baloth. We don't have one. We'll go for the Heist as well. So we're going to drop Glissa and Heist here. Glissa amazing at dealing with pesky enchantments, and we can just look at their hand here, and they've got a Sentinel, Splash Portal, and a Lurker. I think we'll get rid of the Lurker, as that is a harder card for us to deal with, as it gives all their creatures ward. Would like to get rid of this Lily Splash Mentor if I can find a way, though. Alright, opponent is getting some value with these pond profits. Lots going on up there. I mean, our life total is relatively stable. No idea how this is going to end up. Well, we find a Choking Miasma. That will deal with the pond profits. Okay. And we could kick it if we wanted to. Yeah, let's play the Miasma here. We'll give it everything -2, -2. We'll play Lily. Make them sack a creature. And they sack that. You know, I think I've done this in the wrong order. I think I should have attacked with Glissa first, removed the counters from that creature so it died, played Lily second main, or sorry, after that. Down minus it to get rid of this Mentor. Yeah, that was a slight. I think that was a slight misplay there, because we could have just killed that creature of theirs. Instead, they stick. Though they keep the 4/4 alive. Yeah, I mean, I mean, we drew a card out of it. We drew the Heist instead, but that would have been better to do it that way, I think. Anyway. Opponent with a Pond Profits to restart the drawing cards train. They've had 3 of these now. We need to draw into some action soon. We can always heist their, or Cruelclaw's heist their hand and gift them something so we can cast something from them, but I'm not too concerned about their deck. And if they go for the attack into Liliana, I think I'm just going to block with my Preacher. So we'll see what they want to do here. Okay, they are flickering their profit to draw them another card. Yeah, getting rid of this Mentor would have been the best thing for us. Okay, another Miasma here. We're kind of getting our cards in the slight wrong order. I'm still going to Miasma, though. I still want to clear this board of theirs. And I guess we just get in there with Glissa. Just trying to find a removal spell, really. And we can keep the Preacher back to protect Liliana. Draw a card. Okay, it's a land. Great. I guess we can just uptick Liliana. Get rid of our Llanowar Wastes here. And just heist their hand. See what's going on up there. Okay, Poison Dart Frog and this Sentinel. Let's get rid of that. I'm not too concerned about their mana door. And we've kind of got there a little bit. They've got a couple of lands in their hand, so their hand's not particularly great. So much value from those Pond Profits, though. They find a 3-tree Scribe. Off the top, fair enough. And a Poison Dart Frog. Alright, this is the game now. Going to flicker their Scribe. Counter onto the Poison Dart Frog. Okay, I mean, they're trying to get it out of Miasma range. There is Liliana. Alright, a second copy of Lily, sure. We'll get them to sack a creature, though. Not sure what they're going to sacrifice. Probably this Dart Frog. Although it does have Death Touch, and that is a good way for them to deal with our attacks, even though Glissa has First Strike. This is quite a big decision for them here. I do quite like playing against frog decks, to be honest. I'm yet to play a frog deck myself. Okay, they've got rid of the Poison Dart Frog, fair enough. They're going to hate to see another Liliana, but we haven't got much we can really do here. We'll get them to sacrifice a creature. Okay, that's gone, the 3-tree Scribe, and the Mentor stays. Let's get in there with Glissa, draw a card, hopefully find a... Oh, another Preacher's great. Alright, sure. Here we go. This is better for us. 3 creatures on the battlefield, 3 Death Touchers. Opponent with another Poison Dart Frog. Well, we know they've only got a Forest, which they play. They flicker their Poison Dart Frog, so it comes down as a 2-2. And they can't really attack. Sure. Alright. Opponent is there. It's just these turns seem to be taking a while here. Okay, and we finally get our priority back. I'm going to cut out all these dead spaces as these turns are taking about 30 seconds each just for me to pass priority to them. Alright, what you got, opponent? Nothing. They go down to 9. We draw a card. Another Glissa. Okay. And, yeah, I mean, Glissa's going to just kill them if they're not careful. Which Glissa, you might ask? Well, we have 3 of them. Could have played a second one there to keep an untapped one, but they're not attacking. I kind of want them to attack, though. Okay, they find a land, and they might be out of gas here a little bit. And we play Bandit's Talent, which is perfect for us here, because we finally get a payoff for the fact they've got no cards in their hand. It's taken a while, but we've dealt with their board, we've dealt with their hand, their life is on 9. Bandit's Talent should be enough to just see the game out here. They're going to need to draw multiple cards, but we have multiple threats now. I can't really see any other way of this going. I'm just going to jam with everyone here. Go for the throat is perfect. Let's get rid of this Mentor at least. If they want to give their Dart Frog Death Touch, so be it. We'll lose, what, a Preacher of the Schism here? We'll go down to 4. They'll lose their creature. And one of these Bandit Talents is going to take them down to 2. And then we even have another one if they want to hold back some cards. So this is pretty much 100% a win for us here. Bandit's Talent as our finisher. Our creatures here as blockers, attackers. And we just draw a card, lose a life. So most of the life we've lost in this game has just been from Glissa itself. And we find an Obstinate Baloth. Alright, fair enough. We don't actually have the green mana for that. And we can't use the Demolition Field to find it. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and scoops it up. Alright then, on the draw here, and our hand is pretty cracked. I quite like this one. Hopeless Night. Well, in fact, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4 drop. And if they're playing any kind of discard effect, we can get rid of the Baloth here from our hand to get a 4/4 onto the battlefield. Please, if I recommend any card in the current meta, it is Obstinate Baloth. I think you can get away with it, even if they aren't a discard deck, because a 4/4 4 life for 4 mana is perfect at the moment. Think of all those decks that you might be dying to, where you wish you had a little bit more life. And the Baloth there is just a chunky blocker we're going to throw in front of their creatures. Does so much. Alright, what you got, opponent? I'm looking forward to this game. Alright, they are playing Swamp, and they say go. Well, we will Hopeless Nightmare our opponent. When this enters, each opponent discards a card. So it's a toss-up if you want to play this or a specific targeted discard spell from their hand, like Duress. Great at getting rid of cards like the Edict, which I don't really care about, but I do like the Nightmare's ability to let us scry later on as we just find another Nightmare. Okay, well, this is where our mana base is slightly skew-if, as I would have preferred a black mana source there to drop the Cruelclaw's Heist. And it is Lord Skitter Sewer King. Okay. Alright, well there is a Llanowar Wastes. Better late than never. Question is, do we just go into their hand or do we want a Preacher? I mean, Miasma can deal with the 1-1. I'm just going to go for the Preacher. If they have a removal spell, fair enough. It's just another card out of their hand. But the Preacher is a blocker to deal with Lord Skitter. It also doesn't die to cut down. I'm worried about a Rotten Mouth Viper from them. They have enough mana to do that. They've gone for Braids instead. Okay, I mean, I've been playing with Braids for what seems like years. It's such a good card. It works so well at the moment. Definitely going to want to look in this hand, though, because I do not trust our opponent here. We'll play the Blooming Marsh so we can drop the Baloth next turn. We'll look into their hand here. Braids and Rotten Mouth. Okay, well, I mean, we will exile that snake. I mean, if they had that in their hand last turn, could they have played it? Not sure. They've gone for the Throat our Preacher here. And we know they have a Braids. We need a removal spell ourselves to deal with Lord Skitter. Otherwise, unfortunately, I think we're going to die here. I also wish there was a better removal spell, sort of board wipe in black, to deal with 3 toughness creatures. I was putting the 5 mana board wipes into this deck originally, but I feel like if you're playing that on turn 5, your life total is already going to be so low. And at the moment, I feel in the meta, players are able to rebuild pretty quickly. They do have a Bandit's talent themselves, which I'm glad we discarded there. Gonna need to drop this Baloth next turn to preserve our life total. They've gone for an attack. Well, I think I block, what, Lord Skitter? Unless they have another in their hand. I have no idea why they attacked with that. I guess they just want to just jam to get our life total down. Ruthless Negotiation makes us exile a card. I guess we exile the... I wish we had another card. I want both of these. I guess we exile the board wipe here. Baloth gains us life. It becomes a blocker. We get rid of a creature. We take 2. We're down to 2. And that's Glissa. And unfortunately, we don't have the mana to do everything here. But we have to play the Baloth. We have to gain life back. Back up to 6. Opponent on 16. Yeah, so this opponent's deck here is... It's using... It seems it's like it's using discard to help its sort of mid-range black identity. And I think that's where I think the best discard decks are. No, do not attack with Braids, yeah. I'm going to decline that down to 4 as we find Cut Down, yeah. Not brilliant here. Let's crack a clue. And it's Blooming Marsh. Fantastic. I mean, sure. This isn't looking particularly great. Alright, opponent. Can you finish us off? We're on 4 life. They have a Braids on the battlefield. They've gone to... Well, maybe... Oh, sacrifice itself. Are they going to sacrifice a land? I guess we're going to have to sacrifice the Baloth here. It's kind of done its job. And we also get to crack this Nightmare. I'm not really sure what we're looking for. Bandit's talent and the Preacher. So they're going to play Braids. So we need a creature on the battlefield. Preacher might be able to start gaining us back some... Sorry, Preacher might be able to start gaining us back some creatures. Yeah, this is a tough old game, this one. Once we got rid of that snake, I thought we'd be okay, but Braids has definitely got them back into this. I do love Braids. Hopeless Nightmare for our opponent, and Braids makes its return. I guess if they want to sacrifice their Nightmare, at least we have another one to, at least we have one ourselves to sacrifice, so that's quite nice. I'll just pass and see what they do. Okay, they have gone for the enchantments. We'll get rid of our own. We get to scry 2 here. Well, we know the Bandit's talent is on the top. I think we need better than that, though. I think we need a removal spell for Braids. Oh, 2 top, and we find a Restless Cottage. I mean, we can animate this to create a creature to sacrifice for Braids. Even though it's tapped, at least we can get rid of it. Get in there, make ourselves a 1-1. That's lifelink. They just need 2 removal spells to win the game here. Alright, go for the throat on our 1-1. Oh, I guess they can just attack us. What am I thinking about? Yeah, they just need to attack with Braids. Well, that wasn't too bad. It was actually a really good game there against mono black mid-range deck. Alright, on the draw with quite a reactive hand. I want to be a bit more proactive. I think there's a bit too much removal in this hand here. We'll mulligan this one into a better hand, I think. We do have a Baloth. Please make us discard that Baloth. Nope, mountain into Heartfire Hero. That is good by me. Actually, the Heartfire Hero is quite a nice target for our Choking Miasma as it removes its power. So when it dies, we are going to be okay. I'm kind of confident against mono red. Restless Cottage, I really want to find a way to get that onto the battlefield, but I think we need to be holding open this go for the throat, as they did put a slick shot into their plot zone. Okay, they're going to get in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of damage. I'm going to want to play the Baloth on turn 4. Oh, we play a Blooming Marsh, which was a little bit of an annoying land. Actually, it's not, because we have the Llanowar Wastes. So we're definitely going to be dropping this Baloth soon. Opponent with a Heartfire Hero. If they're just going to play this Slick Shot, okay, Might of the Meek on the hero. Yeah, we'll let them have their card. We'll save the go for the throat in case a bigger threat hits the battlefield. Yeah, we'll go with this. We have a lot of life gain in the deck, and we do have some nice annoying creatures for our opponents at some point. So the question is now, do we play the Baloth? Gain 4 life. I think we do. Going to bait them into playing this Slick Shot, and then we're just going to see if we can delete their board, and then maybe we can start looking at their hand as well. I have never been so impressed with a 4/4 4-mana creature as I have at the current meta. Lightning Strike on the Baloth, and are they just going to double burn it? They do. I mean, this is fine. We've just saved so much. So the Baloth's gained us 4 life, but it has in itself just taken 5 damage. So yeah, I mean, we'll just clear the board here, and I mean, this is going to be devastating for them. So think of that Baloth there as gaining us about 8 or 9 life. Emberheart Challenger for our opponent. 2/2 haste, prowess, monstrous rage. Okay, I mean, this is what their deck does. It's very powerful. So we would be dead now if we hadn't have the Baloth in the deck. That is Bandit's talent, but I think I want to just drop a creature here, and obviously we're flirting with dying from a top deck from our opponent, but that happens. We'll get them to discard that card from their hand. Lightning Strike. Okay, I mean, they, I guess, had lethal. Yeah, I mean, we'll just get rid of their creature whilst we can. There's no messing around here. Now we have a 4/3, and we can start attacking with Restless Cottage, start gaining us some food. Opponent shocks us down to 2. Okay, well, we are absolutely going to gain a food here. So now we're technically on 5 life. And I'm just going to attack with the cottage only until our life total is a bit better. Sure, loads of alternate arts for them. And we can start eating away at their life total, start building up ours, and this is where the incremental life gain in our deck works so well. Opponent doesn't play their card. Maybe it's like a monstrous rage or something. Sure, we just keep jamming, I guess. Always want to make sure we hold 2 mana open, though, I think. Let's go for the Investigator. We need to react to them burning us with our food. Yeah, it is a monstrous rage. We'll play the other Restless Cottage, and yeah, opponent sees the writing on the wall and scoops it up. Nice. Alright then, on the draw. And our hand is pretty sweet. I kind of like this one. They did mulligan into and playing a Blossoming Sands, gaining them a life. Okay, green, white, okay. Well, we'll drop our Restless Cottage here. And it is Warren Elder. Alright, so looks like we're up against Wabbits. Sure. Well, I've played with rabbits a lot myself, so I feel like I kind of know their threats. Let's start getting their hand reduced, though. Don't care about this 2-2 right now. Got rid of a Pollen Shield Hair. Okay. And Innkeeper's Talent. Alright. I mean, Innkeeper's Talent is quite a nice addition to this deck. It's going to put this Elder out of Miasma and cut down range. So Innkeeper's Talent is almost why we have cards like Glissa Sunslayer in the deck. They need to kill this now, otherwise we're going to just keep jamming with this and we're just going to destroy their talent there. And the Elder here is now a 4-4. There's no way they block, is there? We will see. No? Let's get rid of their enchantment here. They've invested mana into it and it's an annoying card. Now we will follow up with a Preacher. No point playing the Baloth at the moment. I think a Death Toucher is better. I guess we have the mana open. Oh, do we go to cut down or do we just level up? Let's go for the level up. We'll hold the cut down. We're not under any particular pressure. Harvest Right Host, 3-3. Okay, I wonder if our opponents now are clocking on to the idea that 2 toughness creatures are a tiny little bit weak. I will snap block this off as we find a Cruelclaw's Heist. Okay, and then maybe this could be a Bandit win. So let's yeah, let's just go for their hand. Head of the Homestead and Rabbit Response. I think the creature is better to get rid of, as this actually 3 creatures. And the question is, do we keep attacking here with Glissa? Why not? Why not indeed? We could even remove the counters from the Elder if we wanted to. I think we just keep drawing cards, keeping us in the game as we find another Demolition Field. Alright. Opponent down to 13 from the talent. And Phineas. Alright, well. Phineas is cut downable. But we do have, again, we have this Choking Miasma. Wow. Attack for 8. I wonder if they thought that maybe Phineas triggered there. But let's get rid of this 4-3 of theirs. I guess they have to make some attacks at some point. And let's just cut down Phineas whilst we have the opportunity. Hostile Investigator, okay. Let's get rid of that Rabbit Response from their hand. So they have no cards left. So we're in a pretty decent position here. Make a clue, attack the opponent for 3. They go down to 10. We draw a card. Bandit triggers. Surely this is over. I don't even know how they get out of this. Okay, I mean, they've activated their Warren Elder. It is a 5-5. Are they going to attack? If they attack, we just take it, don't we? And just kill them on the backswing? What am I missing? Not much. They needed to hold that back. Pretty sure we've got the win here. We'll just crack our clue anyway. Yeah, so we attack them for 7, and in our end step, we'll just, Bandit's talent will just do them for the last 2 damage, and we take them out. Nice little win there against Rabbits. Okay, so let's check the stats for this deck over on untap.gg, and as you can see, our Bandit discard deck, which is this one here, has gone, or it went 12 and 5, which isn't too bad, 71% win rate, and we had a positive win rate against all of our matchups, so I was pretty happy with this. You can take this deck whatever way you want. Whilst I'm on this page, I just want to show you, after I played these games, I just sat around jamming loads of games into the early hours of the morning with this particular version. It's exactly the same. But you can see here that amongst other things, our record against mono red ended up at 8 and 0. This deck is primed for mono red, so if you're playing against that deck, I'm pretty happy with the way this went. Let's bring up Arena though and jump into the deck here. And here it is. So I think starting off as a mono black discard deck and moving towards this kind of hybrid discard mid-range Golgari deck has been brilliant. My record with mono black wasn't as good as it is with this Golgari brew. I've seen other people not play Glissa or Baloth and literally just splash in here for Blooming Marsh for Restless Cottage as a way to win the game, because the only issue with discard decks, I feel, is once you've got rid of their hand, if you haven't got something like their talent on the battlefield, you don't really have a lot going on. You need a way to actually win the game, and they may draw themselves into a win themselves. Because of that, I threw a sideboard together in case you wanted to go along those lines. And these are the cards I think, after today, you could add. So I'm going to go first of all for Shelly. Look, this card is busted. It's going to be busted on this in our deck here. You draw cards, your opponent's going to lose life. Sorry, you're going to gain life. Your opponent's going to draw cards, they're going to lose life. It is another win condition. I just don't want to put Shouldered in my decks. I'm not going to be putting Shouldered in any more decks unless it's a very specific build dealt around Shouldered. The other version could be to play Braids, Lord Skitter and Rottenmouth Viper. Braids is a good way to keep refilling your hands as another way to destroy your opponent's life total. Lord Skitter, churning out rats are fantastic fodder for your Rottenmouth Viper to hit the battlefield as early as turn 4 or 5. So I'm really happy with this build. I really want to hear your thoughts though on how you play your discard decks, and if any of you have had any spicy turn 0 plays with the Baloth, because I had so many today, so many into the early hours of the night. Like I said, I'm going to put together a highlight reel, because for me, sitting there on the other end of it, it's absolutely hilarious when you get to drop this on turn 1. So to check out my stats for this video and all the decks I play, the link to my untap.gg is listed in the description, and that's where you'll also find a link to download the deck tracker for yourself. You'll get to track your stats, see the top decks being played, and maybe find a deck or two that you can make with your collection. It is all over there on untap.gg. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this video, supporting the channel as we grow, and I'll catch you again in the next video.